he just...
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the Tokotas mini podcast on November 20th, 2024. As I warned everyone who was here for the little tiny pre-show that was happening, it will be a little loud today. I'm not podcasting from my usual little isolated setup. I normally have on my headphones and my big mic, and today it's just my laptop, and I got my kid running around and a cat who loves to be loud when I'm doing things. So it will be a little louder. The audio quality will be a little bit down. This is not a full-blown podcast. This is a mini.
You'll get one in December.
Yes, we'll do a big one in December. Well, you'll see how well I kept my promises. I'm really going to try. I'm in the process of doing so right now. So this is a little status one. We just haven't had a podcast in a bit, and I've missed all of your beautiful shining font faces, I guess, because what else would I call it when I don't see any of you in person?
Like font faces.
You like font faces? Okay, well, we're probably going to keep using that then. So I wanted to give you an update from TokoCon to now and what we've done. So step one, we made 3, I want to say 3, Dun's going to correct me or someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong and it was more than 3. But we made 3 big promises for the end of the year. 1, we're going to be working trackers onto Tokotas. That is in progress.
Did you make that promise?
I did.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I did at least in my own head.
Okay, well, it's out there now.
It's out there now. So
Fake faces.
We're
Go
going
Cray. Sorry.
That's... I should have known that Cray would have the better one. So, Tokotas trackers. You have seen the first phase of that in taming. Everyone remembers Tokoween came around, and I think at the end of the month, I kind of died a little bit, where I just came in to chat, and I was just like, why is there more taming? All of these Tokos need to tame, because I took over taming again. And there were 800 plus taming rolls in October. And I did that for 2 days. I think I made it 2, maybe 3 days.
I think I helped you with one part of a day.
Yeah. And I know Saf rolled a day for me while I was doing heads down crazy. And I went, I'm done with this. We automated it. And the system that we built is the precursor to how to expect your online trackers to work, where you're going to have those walls with images on it. They're probably paginated. You're going to have places that you feel informed. So you can see that we are... Oh, we do. That's true. We have so many new people. Thank you, Cray. Step back. What are trackers? Activity and career trackers. So for all of our newbies out there, you're like, what are those? We used to do them as journals, or as stash or journals on DA. Then DA said, stash? What's that? You guys aren't paying for this. And went ahead and killed them. So now we do them in journals. But we all know that they have many issues with DA's beautiful track record of stability in comments and various things of that nature. People lose roles when we can no longer post on journals. Lots of stuff happens. Yes, not everybody hits their limit, but enough people hit it that bank felt it. And we've been talking back and forth how we're going to pull this off. And this year we're making that big jump. We're going to try and put activity and career trackers, so all your activity roles and all your career, I guess, CEs, competitions, yeah. All your competitions roles will be on Tokotas. We may still post them on DA for a bit, obviously as we move it, but much like how all of your Toko slots moved, your activity roles are moving. And that's phase 1 of doing some massive updates to how banking will work and how REs will probably work and just in general, okay? So that's happening. Yes, it does like to also say what words we can and can't use.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for that, DA. We can no longer verify accounts easily. Woo! We have to totally rework our vernacular on that to be less clear. Thank you. But we're going to do that, and we are in progress. How we are going to do phase 1 has been fully architected at this point, and you saw that architecture in play for Tokoween, because I got lazy.
You got angry at DA because the copy-paste was broken one day.
Okay, yes, I got very angry at DA because the copy-paste was broken, and anyone who knows anything knows that I can get a lot done on spite. A lot done on spite, and my spite was aimed at DA that day. So in 72 hours, we built a new taming system based on the architecture I had for the trackers. So you're seeing that first brush of us moving it over there. So we had the benefit of learning lots of stuff from that, meaning trackers are still on track, pun intended, for January. In January, you should expect that at least some people will be moving their Tokotas onto Tokotas for their trackers. That's where we're going with them. So status quo on that one. World tour. I'm on it. I'm still working on it. It's the most at risk of my promises, but I am working on it. Documents have been resurrected. People are showing up. People are trying to help. I have someone who's willing to go look at various things, other people who are willing to write. We're just trying to get it moving. Obviously, DA threw some curveballs at us, and we had to deal with those. This story of our lives on DA right now. And I used to try so hard to not say anything bad about Eclipse because I understood from a developer point of view. But at some point, you have to just admit they're doing a bad job. So, World Tour, at risk. Still going to try for the end of the year to have something up for everybody. All of the competitions are ready to go. It's the adventure that's not. And very, very fairly, many of the people who are working on the coding side of that, they've all got their own lives this year and they step back. And Toko's always comes second to the real life. So, Vruma, that's where it's at.
All our unlocks are still intact, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you pulled anything early, thankfully.
Eh, you know me, like to shake it up. So, to recap, trackers on track for January open. Vernma, thank you. Vernma, semi on track. It's orange on that red, orange, and red right now. It's orange. It's
red, orange, and red?
Green.
You said red. Never mind.
Look. Who has spent the last 6 days coding till 5 a.m.?
Apparently Thomas.
Me. And let's be fair, I'm not fully functionally here.
I'm going to go check on him.
Yeah, can you check on that? Thank you. That was very loud and animated. He said he wanted noodles for dinner, by the way.
Is that you asking me to do them?
It is me asking you to do them.
I would have to run the microwave while you're recording.
Well, we're going to have to do that if we gave him the mac and not cheese. All right. So, on track, not on track. There was one more promise, and that promise was gardening. The bane of my existence. More so than World Tour for 2, 3 years? I don't know, a while. So, everyone knows we had a slightly disastrous beta. I've looked at the code now, and honestly, the code is pretty clean, but the system is very complicated, and that kind of is what it is. So I have finally got work on gardening, and we're having this mini podcast so I can show it to you, talk it through with you, because we're doing this in a manner that is not my preference, which is the code is leading us to this system. Okay? And you're like, what does that mean, Jill? It means that I sat down and I went, okay, we need to have a place where you create a screen. I think these would be on that screen. And then we're just kind of like working it through literally one task at a time to get to victory. So we don't really have a fully fleshed out document of exactly what we're building. We are going with the flow, and that can be dangerous because as much forethought as I can try to put in with that, obviously I'm making snap decisions. So we're going to go over what exists in gardening right now so that you all can see it. I can get your feedback. You can have ideas about it. And then we'll kind of go from there. My hope is that we will have some sort of alpha in December, January. And that's not a beta. If you know anything about alpha testing usually means slightly unstable, not fit for public consumption. And I can't finish that joke because that's not very polite for this podcast. So, basically, I'm expecting a buggy release in December or January. But here we go. All right, before I kick off and start sharing my screen, I'm well aware that I sound insane rambling for the last 10 minutes. Does anyone have any questions they want to throw out there before we kick off gambling?
Direct me to Discord. I'm coming back to look.
Specifically about the trackers or Roomba, and I guess gardening, but I mean, I'm probably going to answer your questions when I show you what we got right now. All right, and now Dunn's checking to see if anyone typed. Oh, and there will be a raffle. We're having a podcast. Of course there's a raffle.
What are you raffling?
I don't know yet.
Jeez. You're going to make me count this.
Mm-hmm. I will. I will make you count this. Is anyone typing?
Don't see anybody typing, so roll onward.
Onward we go. All right, let's talk about gardening. So, anyone was here in the middle of the night, at least my time, last night, I dropped a spoiler and walked away. Well, we're back. Stay out of this place, okay? The URL isn't... It says that for a reason. Stay out. All right? So let's go talk about gardening. I'm moving, so I will no longer be able to see all of your... Actually, no, I think I can do this where I can still see what you guys are saying to me. I might be smart enough to pull that off. Maybe. Yeah, okay, I think I can do it. What's wrong?
It's just the first soda I've had since getting sick.
Oh.
Burns.
Okay, I can kind of see what's going on here. I can move that out of the way because I don't care about it. Boom. All right, so now I can see the chat too. This is our first blush at the gardening system. Yes, some of this does look very familiar. This was built upon the corpse of the previous system. You could say it grew from the bones. I've taken plenty of the things that Secret did beautifully, such as getting all these SVGs and resizing it in the CSS. She did all the hard work, so I'm just reusing it. But here's we go. Here's what we're talking about. First things first, when you come into our new gardening system, you're going to be told, hey, you have to go to this manage screen and you have to set up your Tokos. The way that we're going to roll that is you will select a region. The starter regions will be Tanya and Tartok. Everything else will be unlocked with work in the gardening system. Full details on that will be out. The gut reaction right now is that you're going to have to grow so many of X things successfully to access a region. What does a region do? Well, the way that we are going to work regions, I'll actually show you. Let me switch myself to Tartok.
Do you want the spreadsheet so you can open it and you can just look at the spreadsheet with the pluses and stuff?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Oh, well, it is like the second to last thing I sent you. Just go open it.
Is it? Okay, give me a second. I'm popping open a spreadsheet so we can talk it through like regular, normal human beings.
Which you definitely are this week.
I definitely am this week. I am not masquerading as a human this week. All right, so here's how it's going to work. These are what we have kind of decided are in existence and why I'm telling you you'll pick a region and then you'll pick at least one Toko. Yes, they still have to be bonded. So Tanya and Tartok are going to be our starter regions. It basically means that everything grows about the same in these areas. And there are 2 seasons in which you would be in season. What does in season mean? It most likely means that you will yield more items every time you harvest in season. Tanya and Tartok will have 2 seasons. Right now, we are tentatively calling them cold, hot, dry, and wet as the seasons. We looked at continuing the moon, but there's a little back and forth about how often we're going to move those along. I did just find Secret's really nice way in how she was tracking that time, so I may still go back to a weekly season. We'll see. But as of the moment, those are it, and every month would be a different season. So I would need to go check what my list is, but basically every month is one of those 4, and then it'll rotate in order, kind of like how our current seasons work. So we would be doing that, and you have the same grow chance for everything. When you move into our 8 other regions, that means that we would be including the 4 new regions that haven't been released yet in this. There is something that grows really well and something that doesn't grow really well. So for Narnvok, flowers would grow really well and fruit wouldn't. What does that mean? That means that when you're growing flowers, you would have a higher yield than normal, and when you're growing fruit, you would have a lower yield than normal. We have gone for authentic over accurate. Every region has one that they're good at and one that they're not good at, so that means every of the 8 categories has a region that they're better in, a region that they're not. We're well aware that some things grow everything really, really well, but we had to make decisions, so we did. We've done the best we can for it to feel, at least the thing that's growing there makes a lot of sense. Okay? And the thing that's not is balanced against the most desirables. For example, mushrooms and trees, which have some of the most desirable items in the game, they are the opposite of each other. So in Kutrik, mushrooms grow really well, but trees do not. And in Tolas, mushrooms don't grow well and trees do. And they all have different season, but they only get one that they grow well in. So all of your region is towards how many of the thing I get when I harvest. That's why it matters. And it informed the rest of what we were doing today. And then, of course, you pick a Toko, and that Toko needs to have been bonded with you, and then it does work from there.
You should tell them that we're going up to 3. We're not sure how you unlock the 2 and 3 yet.
Yes, as done. Just said that you guys probably can't hear. We're going to go up to 3 Tokos can be part of your garden. Everyone starts with 1. How you unlock 2 and 3 is still a question in the air. We will have an answer for you by the time we make it to a proper beta. I've not put any locks on it right now because I'm just setting it up to do it and test it. So I put 3 in there because I need to see the 3. Don't worry, this is just because I'm doing crazy things with short pages. But that's how it works. So if we come back over here, let me expand this so it looks nice. Quest chain is definitely a possibility, but we may want to do more than just a quest chain.
Alcestia has a lot of stuff dropping next year in quest chain, so we might not want to put the strain on that department.
As Dunn just said that you all probably can't hear, Alcestia has a lot dropping in quest chains next year, so I don't know if we want to put another piece of strain on her for that. So you fill those out, and when you come back here, you will have this garden with 1 unlocked, and this will be locked up too. It looks just like these, where it tells you how much energy you need to use to unlock them. You'll see what region you're currently in. You'll see what seasons count as in season. That's what I'm calling it right now. I've included the concept of weather events, so different weather might have different effect on your garden today. And I've included what faction you're in, because I've expanded this to 6 actions. Sorry, don't look at fatigue. 6 actions: plowing, planting, watering, gardening, weeding, and harvesting, and each faction will gain a bonus in one of those, which will be all of your Tokos will get this bonus. All right, so that's what's going on here. And then, of course, your regional compatibility. I don't expect you to memorize it, so I put it right there for you. And that's what you need to do to get into your garden and go. Everybody gets 100 energy a day. This is different than what it previously was. Previously, Tokos had energy. We moved energy to user level. And then what we did is, you can see energy costs down here. Every Toko has energy costs for each thing. The more they do something, the more their energy cost for it will go down. So the more experience, the better they get at it. The more fatigued they get, you see this fatigue over here, and there's 0, which is like fresh, no issue. And then I think it goes to winded, tired, and exhausted. That will increase the energy cost. So the more you use a single Toko to do everything, the more exhausted that Toko gets, and then it increases the cost of energy to do actions. Okay? So it's a game of up and down with that, but you can use any of your bonded Tokos, and unlike the previous system, while you will be locked into these 3 Tokos for today, as soon as you take an action and your energy dips, you won't be able to switch out your gardening Tokos. But the next day, you will be allowed to switch out your gardening Tokos. You don't lose your experience. That was one of the biggest things we heard from the previous beta, where nobody liked that. And yes, we know some of it was a UI issue. Like, we get it. We understand. It was a beta. We weren't claiming that it was completely finished and ready to go. So you'll be able to switch them out. And if I take a Rumi out of this, then if I add her in 3 days, all of her previous experience will remain. The only difference is that her fatigue will reset every day. Okay? So that's what this all means over here. You'll be able to move people in and out at least once a day. As long you can move them out as much as you want until you take an action, is basically how it goes. And then you get locked in. And then, of course, your energy here. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Any questions on what we were saying about here's the basic makeup of your garden and your Tokos before we get into the gameplay of actually how you gameplay? Partly because I want you all to make some decisions for me so that I can keep moving. Questions popping over there?
Will you ever be able to garden in like 2 regions at once or limited to 1?
We're limiting you to 1. There's a lot of game balance reasons behind it, being half the reason that we put like mushrooms and trees together is to prevent you from being uber powerful at everything you need to create. I think that's for Iwas.
Yeah.
That's for Iwas. And I think flowers and fruits are together for a similar reason. So if you can garden in two regions at once, kind of takes away the teeth out of that. So probably not is the answer. However, what we're speaking of right now for moving regions is we may not have a cost to move region other than everything in your garden gets wiped out. So if you move regions, anything you had planted is gone. It's whoosh, it's gone. But you will retain your plots. So if you saw here, I moved from, I think I was in Tokotas previously, and I moved to Tartok, and I have 2 unlocked plots. I remain having 2 unlocked plots. You don't have to re-unlock things from there. The only difference is anything you had currently in progress that you hadn't harvested, that would whoosh away, and then you can move regions. That's how it's likely going to work. But we may include some sort of cost for moving regions. We'll see. But you can at least see where my brain is heading in that direction. Other questions?
Typing right now.
Okay. I will take a drink while they type.
The tab has been noodled.
Oh, he has? Good.
Yeah.
I tried to feed him his mac and not cheese. It was there. It would have taken me 30 seconds. I cooked it earlier for him, and he's like, no, I had chicken nuggets yesterday, and I want noodles today.
All right.
You have so much personality, little man.
Will gardening / plowing ever have a chance to provide like a seed or something random to gardening? Like you plow and you find a flower seed, or you weed and you find a stone or a leaf or something?
I don't know yet. Yeah. So when I say that the code is leading me towards how this system works, I really mean that. I made decisions about what actions we would have when I had to put them on the screen for you to see. And obviously, I have been up late quite a few nights working on this, as other admins will attest to, as they've come in and out of a voice chat to keep me company and to be my rubber ducks to get me through. So a lot of it is like the decision will be made when I get there if it makes sense. If it's not, this is supposed to be mostly casual and fun. Those are the 2 goals. And as long as it's possible with code and is casual and fun, then I'll probably do it. But MVP, which if anyone doesn't know, that means minimum value product for January, will not have every bell and whistle this system has. I'm not going to worry about anything with tools or traits or anything like that. You will just be able to garden from beginning to end and unlock plots, basically. That's the goal for there. So I don't know is the appropriate answer. Anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay, cool. Hopefully it's not too disappointing for everyone, knowing that this will have to be more phased than we wanted. But we'll get it there. All right, I have some actual gameplay that's functional. I have finished how plow works, and I have finished how plant works. And that's actually going to move us on to the next part where I'll explain watering, weeding, guarding, and then we'll talk about harvesting, and I will want, people's opinions on how to do this, because you're the ones playing the game, and I'm not a front-end developer, so I'm doing my best, but it is what it is. Here's how it's gonna work. You'll notice now that we have numbers on these plots to let you know which one is which, and we do that because when you click on this, it's gonna say, hey, and the plot number. It's gonna offer you the action, and the reason it offers you this action is because right now this plot is unfilled, unwatered, no seed. This is the only action you can take on it. You'll pick which one of your tokos that you want to do this. It'll tell you how much energy it costs, and then you'll confirm. It'll come back and say, hey, they've successfully plowed. One of the things that has changed from the old system to the new system is plowing is the first action you take before you plant. It is not how you unlock new slots. So those 2 things are not, that is no longer true. Plowing is no longer used to unlock new plots in your garden. And this is just the first action you take to get something to look like this, which now means you can plant in it. You can see the visual difference. And these right here, these other plots that have the lock symbol, when I'm done, when you click on them, it'll say, oh, do you want to spend energy on this? And then you just spend as much energy as you want towards unlocking it. When you hit the number, which is multiples of 300, I have 40 spent towards this right now, which is why the number is lower. It tells you how much you have left to do. And you can only unlock 3. You have to unlock 3 before 4, before 5, before 6, before 7, before 8, before 9. But when you click on this, it'll let you just spend energy. So your extra energy, spend it in unlocking plots. If you decide to do nothing but unlock, I think we said it's about 2.5 months of daily spending your energy on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't suggest doing that.
But like unlocking plot 2 is only 300 energy. That's 3 days.
Mm-hmm. It's 3 days if you decide to do nothing else but unlock it.
9 days to go for 1 through 3 being there.
Yes, but then your tokos will have, your one toko will have no experience in anything. And you see, it's a game of resource balance now. A little bit of strategy, but you can't really get it wrong. The worst thing that happens is, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that today. I should have done that tomorrow. Like, that's the worst of the consequences. Plowing no longer has a success chance. Planting no longer has a success chance. Everything moved away from success and fail with the exception of withering, which I will explain shortly. So you will always successfully plow. I'm going to see if this will... There we go. Beautiful. So sometimes when someone is very good at something, it will be super effective. So that said, now you have a plant bonus. So you can see it 1 and 2. Plant bonus means that then when I go to plant here, it will cost... Hi, pretty boy. What's up? Oh, yeah? Yeah? Am I busy? So I just must come give you a hug? Of course. I love you. Bye. So, as I was saying, plant bonus means that when you go to plant here, it'll cost less energy. I think it's like 5 less energy than otherwise. So I have that. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Dunn and I are having a conversation right now, which is one of the questions that we're bringing you here for the mini podcast / rubber ducking session. We originally intended to use dirt in this process, and we're wondering if we should put that back in. It would be something like 5 dirt to plow, and that way there's some sort of gatekeeping process towards spending resources to garden.
But dirt would be available in the farmer's market.
Yes, it would be available probably... My gut says it's a bag of dirt for 1,000 TT, and you'll get between 8 and 12 dirt out of it. And that's kind of where we're sitting on that right now. We're trying to decide if we want that back in. Your feedback is greatly appreciated because I'm perfectly fine to go back into my code and update it to require dirt. So when you click on the screen, it'll show you the tokos and how much energy and let you know how much dirt you have. So you know if you have enough to plow or if you need to go and purchase. And then from there, it's plant. Okay, so how's that going to work? When you click on it, it's going to pop up and it's going to say, hey, who do you want to do this seed packet? And then you're going to click it. I've got the seed. I'm just reusing the seasonal seed packets. We've made the decision that up front, there will be no portobello mushroom seeds. There will be no orchid seeds. There will be no, I'm trying to think of one of the other things.
Alder seeds.
Alder seeds. There will be regional seed packets, probably seasonal seed packets, however seasonal ends up being, whether we go back to that weekly moon or we keep to this monthly climate. And there will be family / categories, so you can get a vegetable seed packet or a tree seed packet, and those will likely be purchasable in the farmer's market and then findable in other ways. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to build the system with the thought in mind that if we need a specific seed packet at some point, we can build it. But we don't want to make 120 seed packets because most people aren't going to buy a bunch of them. And it's a lot of work on us. It's a lot of data in the system versus having these randoms. And then as we need them, we can ad hoc do specifics.
I think we talked about rarity ones as well.
Oh yeah, I'm also setting it up so we can do it by rarity. So for WT, they're getting the bonus to plowing. As of right now, This is open to change. WT is getting the bonus to plowing, and basically it gives it a bonus to that chance to be super effective. Because remember, you always succeed. It's just if you're super effective, you get a bonus to the next action, at least in plowing. And then in planting, is it PB? I'm trying to remember.
I should really put this in the spreadsheet instead of our DMs.
You should. I can also check the database because it's in the table.
Planting is LK.
Okay, so LK get a bonus to rarity. It's not a very big bonus, but it is a bonus to rarity. So when you plant a seed, it'll roll the rarity of the seed unless it is specified by the packet. So it'll roll the rarity of the seed and then plant it from there. And they'll get a little bonus. Like, I think it's a +2 or a +3 bonus to your rarity shot. 50% of the time, you're going to get a common. I think right now we're looking at 50, 35, 15 as the breakdown. We'll tell you what it is when we finalize what it is. We're giving ourselves lots of room this time so that we can't just say like it's 30% rare, because we know at some point in time we're going to build ourselves up there with bonuses and such, right?
Also can't just base it on the number of plants in existence because we need more.
Because we will be having more. So those numbers are the tentative. Even as we sit here, I'm like, maybe I should drag that back down to like 10 or 7 so I have more room for future iterations. But these are all questions that we're having. So I will sit and I will plant this. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I gotcha. I have to select Toko. So Alfred went ahead and planted that for me. As you can see, it took some more of my energy. And then this is an unidentified seed. So I really liked the aspect in the last system where you had to figure out what these plants were. And I've found a way to bring it forward into this system, where if you've never planted something before, you have no entry for this and you won't know what it is. But the more you plant something and the more you harvest it, the more you will learn about it. Like, you will learn what the preferred season or the preferred regions are of this, the preferred seasons of this, what it is, and maybe how long its grow time is as well. Because some seeds do have longer grow time. They won't be as long. We, and I really feel like this should be more on me than Secret. We did say that it shouldn't just be wait 3 days and you get something, which is fair. So she did build a very complex watering sun soil system that was really interesting in the back end, but the wait times, we had overcorrected the wait times. They were too high. The chance of success was too low that I think the people in the beta can attest. Like, there were plants that were like 30 days in, and that's not what we wanted. We wanted 9, not 30. So we've had to correct back this direction, which is why we are now here where we are. So that's planting. When you know what a plant is, you're going to get a different icon. You will know it's the tree or the vegetable. If you've grown it before, then you'll know what it is. When you have no idea what it is, you're going to have this little generic image that takes you through as you learn more about it. So that's what's happening for plowing and planting, the things that I have finished, and I can show you how they work right now. I'm going to see if there's any questions about that, and then I'm going to move on to the stuff where I want your help to get this done. Anyone typing?
I'm looking, nothing yet.
Okay. I'm going to give it 2 seconds while I take a drink.
Maybe I missed it. Can Tokos lessen the energy cost for things the more they do it / gain XP apart from factions?
Yes, that's why they have an energy cost down here. See how Rumi's got a 29 in plowing while Alfred and Tally have 30? It's because I've been using her to test that system, so she has more experience in it. There's a formula in the background that when she hits a certain level, she starts ticking down off of how much energy it takes for her to do this specific action. So everyone has separate experience in all 6 actions. So it's a formula that takes into account how much experience they have versus the base number, and then applies fatigue on top of that as well. And all things, negatives and bonuses, do have a maximum. So at some point in time, she will max out her ability to decrease the level of energy for plowing, and fatigue will stop stacking at some point and be a maximum negative. Okay? So yes.
Will bonding levels affect this as well or no?
As I said earlier, no, probably not. You're still going to need to bond, but as of right now, we don't have any plans for bonding levels affecting anything.
Can you train a Toko in more than one skill?
Every Toko can do every skill.
Probably the best way to do it is when you have your 3 Tokos, have them each in 2 skills.
That's what I think will be the best way. At first blush, that's what it seems to be. Obviously, as our power gamers get into this and they learn the strategies, they will come up with 100 different strategies about this is the best way to garden for these things, right? So, probably is the answer. But, not probably. Yes, they can. What the best strategy is, I don't know yet. Okay? Anything else?
How do you refresh from fatigue?
The day rolls over. Yeah, day rolls over. Will we maybe someday have some sort of coffee item that you can feed a Toko to reset its fatigue? Very possibly. Is it on the to-do list right now? Dunn's face says it is.
No. It's going to be one of the teas, so I can justify my tea item.
So you can justify your tea item. Okay, so regardless, maybe there'll be a way to reset it, but your fatigue all resets with the new day. All right.
I think that's everything.
Cool. All right, so where do you come in? There's 4 more actions here. I've said earlier today that I feel like gardening is maybe at the 30, 35-ish now % mark. There's still a lot to do. There is watering, gardening, weeding, and harvesting. Watering, self-explanatory. The plants need to be watered. Why? Because every plant, and I will have this screen soon, this is part of the conversation, every plant has a health associated with it. Your goal is to keep it alive until its harvest date. I think their harvest dates are going to be visible. I think. Every day when you come into your garden for the first time, your garden's going to process everything that's currently there, and the plant health will tick down. That's just how it'll work. Watering will tick it back up. As your Toko gets better at watering, it will provide more health to the plant every time that it does it. Eventually we'll have items. We won't have them for MVP, but eventually we'll have items. Who gets watering bonus? Do you still have it open?
Watering is PB.
PB gets the watering bonus. So they will be slightly more effective than everybody else at watering, or it'll cost less energy. It's still kind of
figuring it out as we go.
Kind of figuring that part out as we go. As I said, the code leads me to the answer. So watering will work just like that. So what's weeding and what's guarding? In this iteration, weeding is going to be a chance every day that every plot that you have grows weeds. And if you have something in that plot and you don't weed, then it will start doing more and more damage to your plant day after day. That's how that's going to work. If your plant hits 0, that's when it withers. That's it. That's when it withers. It doesn't wither any other way. Buddy, what's up?
I need this off there.
Okay. Oh, Lego shenanigans. One. And 2. Here you go. Have fun. So, weeds will start stacking damage on your plant. So you weed every day to prevent that damage from happening. You will have a chance to weed when you go in. You'll see it. You'll know that there's weeds on there. Visual or something will happen that you know there's weeds on this plot. And you'll take a Toko in and you'll spend energy weeding. Again, it's a success. It's not a roll. It's just a success. And I think we did KS for weeding.
Yep.
KS will have some sort of bonus associated with that. Guarding is to protect your plants against garden events. You're like, what the heck's a garden event? Well, there's weather events and there's garden events. Weather does affect your entire garden. I guess maybe I should call them plot events. Every plot rolls an event every day. So if you've guarded, you protect yourself against negative events. So, such as deer come in and deer eat your plant's health down overnight while you were gone. If you have a toko guarding, that doesn't happen. And we are talking having lots of different animals. So, like, you might not guard and then get hit by rabbits, but rabbits don't love the whatever you have planted there, so it's fine. The rabbits take like a teeny tiny bit of damage and you move on, but maybe moles love it, so moles wreck your plants overnight, and now you have to spend time watering them to keep them alive and all that. So that's what guarding's going to do. PL is getting a bonus to guarding. I think that's going to be that if an event hits and your toko protects against it, there's a chance you get an item. Such as if deer come in and your toko protects against the deer in the garden, there's a chance you're going to get deer pelt. And you'll get that when you come into the garden in the morning. That's garden. And then finally, harvesting. You will always succeed on harvesting as long as your plant's health is up. We are talking about maybe if it's really low, like below 10%, there's a chance it'll go wrong and you won't succeed, but that would only be if your plant's health was super low, not if your plant's health was higher than that. So in harvesting, you will succeed, and there will be a role for how much your yield is. Your region will affect it. We said the region was going to affect it, the season was going to affect it, and the toko doing it will affect it. They'll all affect how much you get at it. So a good harvester may usually provide like +1 more than a non-good harvester. And obviously every toko is going to start out as a non-good harvester. And that'll be harvesting. There's talk of like if we move it to like if harvesting goes really well, then it provides a bonus to plowing that next time so that it costs less energy or something like that goes on. Those are the conversations we're having for these. We just kind of want your feedback on the thoughts on that. We are thinking of how are we going to do that, because obviously at this point, when this clicks up, you have to be able to make a decision about weeding, watering, and guarding, and how we're going to do that and assign those things. The UI might get a little complex. You've seen what they look like right now. I'm happy with the toko control because the button should be big enough for mobile. Like, it shouldn't be hard for you to click them on mobile. How do we do the other actions? Like, what do we do there? Do we have 2 radio buttons where you're like, I pick a roomie and weeding and go, right? Oh, that might work. That might work. Oh, rubber ducks. That I think everyone here is capable enough that should be okay. Yeah. Okay, so we may have solved that problem. But this is gardening. This is the MVP that we are running at. There will be some basic weather events, such as it was raining today, so you don't have to spend any energy watering. There's a heat wave today, so harvesting or guarding costs more energy. Events, plot events or garden events, crop events maybe, or plant events, I don't know. We'll have the right word for it. Those that affect each plot, they'll be there, but they'll be very basic as well. And we do know that we're not going to be harvesting one. If you spent 9 days on this, you will not be harvesting one. I don't know exactly how many you're going to harvest. I've got a formula brewing in my head for how that's going to work, and I know all the things that are going to come in to bonus it. But it should be more than one, except unless you're like planting mushrooms in the mountains and they take the negative, right? But it'll always be a minimum one. You'll never harvest 0 unless you fail. And that's, again, the question that's up. Like, there should be some level of failure here, but clearly we had put too much failure into the previous system. Okay. Questions. Keeping in mind, I am making a lot of this up as I reach it, so I may not know the answer.
Is the garden going to roll over every day, even if you don't interact with it? And if it is, will there be a way to pause it for whatever reason?
The garden will roll over every day that you don't interact with it. So let's say you plant something and its harvest date is 4 days from now, and you come back 4 days from now. Things will have happened. Like, the normal things will roll. I think we've determined that like weather events will not have any effect. Because we're not going to roll a weather event every day for days you weren't there. You only get a weather event the day you touch down. And I think we're still deciding on plot events, if they're going to happen or not. But there's a chance that weeds grew. and that they would be they would be hurting your plant's health. But if you make it to harvest day and your plant is still alive, you can just harvest. Like, that'll be it.
We may need to tweak that because that doesn't seem like good game balance. You could plant everything and then just not interact with them to not have to interact with the system and get the items back out.
Well, that's true, but that would only be if your plant had health when all was said and done, because all the things that are ticking down are still happening.
I suppose.
It's going to have its natural decay from no watering every day. And if weeds show up, it's going to get hit with weeds every single day that you weren't there to pull the weeds. So they're neglecting it like that is how your plants would wither. I don't know about pausing it. That is kind of against the spirit of the game play. I would be open to having discussions on it, though.
What about a rollover button like Lyodon does? So your garden exists in a stasis until you hit the button, and then it moves it forward a day. Or do you not want it to desync with real-time days?
I really don't want it to desync with real-time days, because at that point, there's no point in the harvest date.
Point.
Because your harvest date doesn't mean anything. You know, it's whatever day you hit minimum criteria, which is what we were previously doing. And the people in the beta didn't seem to love it.
Okay, that's fair. The pondering.
So, as I said, I'm very open to having my mind changed on it. And anyone who's been here for a minute knows that you can change my mind. But in that situation, there's never going to be a time in which your plants wither. There's no fail chance.
That's fair. Okay. Cross that bridge when we get to it?
Yeah, we're going to have to cross that bridge when we get to it. I've stubbed out everywhere for doing garden processing when you come in daily. Mm-hmm. But I haven't written it because I needed to finish how all of these other things affect, mm-hmm. to know all of the phases, everything I need to do to your plants and your tokos to reset.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. I've done the toko stuff because that was easy. Reset the fatigue to 0. Move on.
Alright. Nobody else is typing, so.
Have I just explained everything so perfectly again? No one has questions?
Doubtful.
Very doubtful. More likely, you've been given a fire hose of information and you're all processing it. But this is what I'm building for gardening. This is my version of gardening. I know you've seen plenty of them, but this is my version, and here's it functional right now. Not even, like, all of this was real actions. It was counting down. This wasn't a video you watched of this perfect situation where I refreshed the page and it looked like it was working. I didn't say that.
Don't pick fights on. Jesus.
I don't know what you're talking about. So.
Can you show us the rest of the harvest for the seeds?
No. I haven't finished it.
Yeah. Only those steps are done.
Yeah, no, that's why I paused, because I've only made it through 35% of the coding. Watering, weeding, gardening, harvesting still need done. So no, I can't show them to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other I suppose I should start a raffle.
You did say that. I'm going to go check on the chaos that is happening in there.
Okay, do you have a raffle question before you walk off? I don't want to ask them. How can I have an opinion about a system they've only seen for the first 30 seconds?
You could add a plant. What plant do you think we're missing in our current lineup?
Okay. We'll go with Duns. Let me see. Words and sense and meaning. So go to the podcast raffles channel and put in what plant you would add to our system that you think we are missing or you would just want to see. Okay, so there you go. That's the raffle question. Probably going to have 5-10 minutes to do this. This is not a big, long one tonight.
What are you raffling?
I'm sorting it out right now.
Also just block building going on.
Oh, it's just block building? Oh, he's in big Lego mood.
I wonder where he got that from.
Whatever. It's not like Oh, man, I tricked myself into working on gardening, didn't I?
Oh my god, you did.
Yeah, so in the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I have built a Lego wreath, a plum blossom, a chrysanthemum, 9 tiny plants,
Poinsettia.
and a poinsettia.
What was the other one you built?
No, that was them.
Plum blossom, chrysanthemum, wreath. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and the 9 tiny plants. So I really did just trick myself into getting into a gardening mood to garden and build the system. Thank you, Lego, I guess. But my kid's been watching me do Legos for days. He's obsessed with the Venus flytrap I built. He's taken it. It's his now. It's not mine.
Went to school. It came back in one piece.
And it came back in one piece. Apparently at one point it got broken, but somebody helped him put it back together.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yes, that's very sweet. My phone? Okay, well, we'll just leave it then if it's Daddy's phone. I did say it was going to be a little chaos in here tonight. I think the cat ate his treats and left.
Didn't even eat all those treats.
Oh, he'll be back. He always is. Okay. Do any more questions pop?
Nope.
Okay. If you have questions, please take them over to the Discord questions channel. And that way I will answer them, because I'm not seeing the full stream chat right now. Whew. I will murder you. Dunn has had this, but just that line of the song, 4 weeks, going on a month, multiple times a day, and then wonders why it's annoying me at this point.
I told you the solution.
It's not the solution. I will never, ever, ever watch High School Musical again. That is you and my husband's jam, not mine. And the 3rd movie is depressing.
Yeah, what is being raffled?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet.
I'm deciding right now. I shouldn't do something too big. This was an off-the-cuff thing.
Yeah, but it was nearly an hour.
But it was nearly an hour. Well, it was nearly an hour with various interruptions.
You were going pretty strong.
Was I? Okay.
Ooh, a sweet potato.
What about a gold slot? 2 gold slots.
YOLO?
Okay, 2 gold slots it is.
When did you start this?
I don't know, like 5 minutes ago? I assume they're typing.
They are. Okay, no, it's... Okay, they've got like 2 more minutes.
Okay, 2 more.
So it's 7.
Sure?
Get close. Brain.
Okay. Which means I have to fill the silence for 2 more minutes. What?
All of Podcast Chatter disagrees with you about High School Musical.
That's fine. I'm willing to be disagreed with.
Oh my god, Cray understands. Bet on it is a cinematic masterpiece.
No, it is not. Not even the messaging is good.
Okay, I've got questions for you.
Okay, yeah.
Has this been answered previously, but regarding bonuses, is there a possibility of new totems, traits, UTs being introduced for gardening? Not for January.
Not for January. That'll be multiple phases out. I don't think I specifically said it, but when I say MVP, that is minimum value product. The bells and whistles do not exist. It is a functional end-to-end experience, and that is about it. But eventually we'll get to that point that we can do things like UTs, traits, tack, bonuses, and other ways. Right now, we put faction in because most people have a faction.
And it nicely fit the 6.
It did nicely fit the 6. Did I invent an entire 6 action to make it fit? Yes, I did.
Makes sense. Okay. Came in late just to make sure I heard right. Crops will not halt growth when not watered.
Oh, they won't halt growth. No. They won't. It's just there will be a natural tick down in their health when you don't upkeep them. I'm going to allow people spots to talk to me about a concept of pausing rather than going. But you're going to have to, if you come to me saying, I want a Lyoden style button where I click it and then it moves over to the next day so that I can never miss my progress, you're going to need to come to me with where the con is here, where the negative, where the onus on the player needs to be. Because even in a casual game, there does need to be some error for failure, and choosing to ignore your garden is where I'm putting the vector of possible failure, rather than roles that you cannot control. And yeah, missing your garden for one day should not kill things. This should not be well, I didn't log on to Tokotas today and water my plants, and my entire garden is dead. That should not happen. At all. If that was happening, I would be like, ooh, we need to bring something back in. It's too much.
Your cat is locked out.
He has his own door.
All right, it is 7. I'm going to go ahead and close the raffle and count it up. And
Okay.
You now must entertain them.
Okay.
Tina's asking for spoilers, but I'm like, wasn't this whole thing a spoiler?
I mean, this whole thing was a spoiler. I had spoilers. I had a ton of spoilers that I wanted to do here. And Dunn has shut me down hard on these spoilers.
Wow. Just throwing me under that bus hard.
She shut me down hard. But, as everything, it was a compromise. So we are going to have a big December podcast. Maybe the first or second week of December is what I'm thinking. We're going to have a big December podcast, and I will have all of the spoilers. Because I said, you can't stop me forever. You can only stop me for the next hour. We know how this goes. And I'll feel bad about my lack of spoilers and go in and spoil something tonight in chat. Because, I wanted to spoil the variant that was coming out for Snowfall. She wouldn't let me. So, I will have to do that in December. And my big state of Tokos? I don't know. My December podcast. I'll come up with a fun and Toko-y name for it at some point that puns off of something in the real world.
I normally do announcements, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Did you roll?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me who it is?
Oh, yeah. It's Captain Vic.
Kep and a Vic. Congratulations, you got a gold starter slot. All right. This is what I have. I feel like we need a new gardening feedback channel.
Gold starters.
Yeah.
Probably. Are you going to be doing this concept of an open voice channel to keep yourself awake as you do this? I saw you threaten it, Jen.
I have considered it. This is, I don't want to say it's soul draining work, because that's not fair. And as I said, I got a nice big jump start because I got to basically graveyard up all the bones of what Secret had already built. Like, I stole her API layer because it was chef's kiss. I was like, well, that's perfect. I don't need to do anything else. I just got to switch it out for my own actions. I stole her CSS for doing this little beautiful plot, because otherwise it was text-based all the way. And she even came and helped me fix my actions that were not clicking the way they were supposed to, and she just kind of like gave me the shrug emoji of like, jQuery be like that sometimes. So, we're only as far along as we are because of the bones of the old system that I was able to take and run with. But everyone knows that gardening has been the bane of my existence since it got announced. I've been very open and honest about that. And now that I must do it, it is a little hard to stay focused. I keep finding myself up at like 4 o'clock in the morning just trying to get something done. So the concept that I'll do some voice chats where y'all are background noise to my working on this and answering my Toko questions is very tempting. I did it with some admins, and I took a couple nights off. So if there's interest in it, technically I'm there as the moderator that needs to be there for us to do a voice channel. So if one of you, IPAC forbids, say something completely unhinged that does not belong in Tokos, I can be there to be like, oh, hold on, stop, that's not appropriate. But otherwise, it would just be idle chatter of a PG-13 level happening in the background. You're entertaining me with your very presence, so I may feed upon you to get your energy and do this job. Yeah. Well, we could do that.
All right. Got those prizes deposited.
Did you? All right. Last opening for questions, and then I'm going to go spend time with my son. Anyone typing?
Sorry, in another channel.
Dun dun. Dun dun. I should go plant this. I mean, I don't think I have anything in my log, but I don't have enough energy to plant it.
Yeah, you should work on unlocking that third plot.
I haven't built that control yet. I haven't built it yet, okay? I only have, when you click on the plot, it gives me plow and plant. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know what it's going to look like for me to do water, garden, weed. Oh, I know exactly what it's going to look like for me to do water, garden, weed.
Which means the moment Tav goes to bed is what you're going to be doing.
Yes, and once I actually break through those 3 actions, we will be over the 50% line. 70% will be harvesting, and then all of the events going around them, validation on that screen, visibility of journal log, that'll be like the last 30.
Ooh.
And Dunn already did a huge data load of all of the plants into the system for my seed tables.
Gonna go work on seed packets once I finish this Advent stuff.
Yes. Anybody?
Oh, sorry. I was supposed to be looking for things.
Yeah, you were. That is your job right now.
Will we ever see the XP our Tokos have in the various sections? Like, can we see how far X Toko is in plowing and planting?
I mean, maybe.
That might not be on the screen, maybe in the journal.
Maybe. I'll maybe put it in a journal so you can see them. As I said, it's a formula that determines this cut down. So even if you see how many times they've planted, it doesn't directly translate into what the final number will be.
However, achievements for that shit. Oh, we're on a podcast, not
We're on a podcast and it is recorded. Watch your damn mouth.
Is there plans to be able to increase the energy level from 100 in the future?
No, there are not currently plans. I know that these are not the final numbers. These are my arbitrary, and I use the word appropriately, my exceptionally arbitrary numbers to start the process. They are... Do I believe that I have cracked the correct numbers for everything on the first go? Of course not. I am not that amazing. I'm pretty amazing, but not quite that amazing that I just guessed the right numbers. So these will probably move up and down. And 100 is just a nice, easy number for everybody. If I feel like it needs to go up, then I'll push it up. But know that like all numbers, like the unlocks would follow that. To keep it at that, like, if you do nothing but unlock plots, it's 2 months of time.
Okay, we're almost done. We'll be in a minute.
Okay? Give me just a minute, buddy, and I'll come in. You can tell me all you need to tell us. 2 minutes. I promise.
I'll be right there.
Okay.
Can you fit back there?
I mean, he's a tiny tab, so probably.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thank you for joining our Tokotas TED Talk about gardening and why it's the bane of Jill's existence and where we currently... The third?
The third gardening discussion?
Is this the third? I feel like this is actually the 4th system.
I'm not sure.
Maybe it's the 7th and we're getting lucky. I don't know. It's many iterations in at this point. But either way, thank you for joining us. I know this was super last minute, super ad hoc about everything that was going on, and I rambled at you for most of this because I'm barely coherent from lack of sleep. But
Go drink your coffee.
yeah,
Also, we need to do dinner.
Yeah, that too.
Child is fed. We are not fed.
I think I was trying to say bye, but I got distracted in my own head. So thanks, everyone. Bye.